blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Welcome to Moments with Myra, where we have real conversations that matter to our community. I'm your host, Myra Toribio, and today we are honored to sit down with Winston-Salem Police Chief, Chief William Penn. Chief Penn has dedicated his career to serving and protecting our city, and today we're diving into his journey, his vision for public safety, and how we as a community can work together to create a safer and stronger Winston-Salem. So let's get started. Chief Penn, thank you so much for being here with me today.
No, thank you for having me.
No problem. So the first question that I had for you is, what inspired you to pursue a career in law enforcement?
So there was always intrigue as a kid. However, I never thought I'd actually be doing it. So when I was in college, my brother-in-law got me a job at Navant. We used to call it Forsyth Hospital back then.
Yeah.
And so when I was in college, I would work there and security on the weekends. And one particular weekend, I saw a man come in the emergency room and he was having all types of issues and he was being violent. And I seen one of the police officers who worked there off duty take him into custody and basically kept all of us safe. And I remember just being in awe that that officer was able to do what he did and made sure that we were all safe. So then I started speaking with the officers and they thought I'd be a good fit for the Winston-Salem Police Department. And so I applied and here I am.
Cool. That's cool. So how do you feel like your leadership style has evolved since taking the role as chief?
I would tell you the first year is just, you're nervous, you're trying to get it right, you're learning all sorts of things. And we were facing some major challenges when I took over as chief. I would tell you, I feel a little bit more secure in my own skin now. I feel like I somewhat know what I'm doing, and I have a confidence that comes with making mistakes and learning more from your mistakes than you do from your triumphs. And so I find myself taking a little bit more time to make decisions because I don't feel rushed like I did early on to make decisions, and making sure that when I do make a decision, I understand the ramifications. So I just feel, like I said, more secure in my skin these days.
Good. And I definitely understand that because I can't even imagine some of the decisions that you have to make on the fly, and feeling comfortable in your skin and secure is a huge part of making those tough decisions.
Right.
So in your opinion, what are the biggest public safety concerns in Winston-Salem right now?
Okay, so it's two that come to mind. One of them is youth violence. That's at the top of the list. And the second one is addressing our unhoused population issues. So those two come to mind. And the unique thing about them is that they're really not law enforcement led issues. These are societal issues that, because they haven't been addressed, they end up in the lap of law enforcement. And realistically, we're not the best equipped to handle it. However, because others won't, we will handle it. And then it goes back to the previous question, which is no one wants to do it. And then when the police do it, they don't like how we do it.
Yes.
And again, that goes back to being secure in my skin, realizing that we are out here doing the right thing. We're doing the best we can to keep our community safe. We have been intentional about explaining to the community what we're facing and requesting their help. And guess what? It's still going to be somebody out there criticizing no matter what. And in the beginning of my career as the chief, that would bother me.
Mhm.
Not so much now.
I understand completely. I understand anytime that you're working with the public in any capacity, the one thing that I had to learn and get a tough skin about was somebody's gonna always have something to say, no matter if all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And you just have to let it roll off your skin and stand up and do the best that you know that you're doing. And also too, I feel like sometimes people they don't have the whole story. So when you don't have the whole story and see what it is that I'm looking at or what we have to deal with on the other side, it's easy to be critical. So I
Yeah,
think that's a good thing that you know that you're feeling more confident in your role.
right.
How can citizens better support law enforcement efforts?
So this is going. I like the way all of these questions piggyback off the other. The first thing they can do to help support law enforcement is to play your role, and whatever that role is. So if you're a parent, play your role at home. If you're a parent, guardian, whatever it is you do, play that role first. I get questions all the time about how can I help? How can I help? And some folks want these grandiose initiatives. And I say, before we jump into that, let's take care of your house first. Let's make sure you're doing what you need to do there first. That's the greatest way you can help support. Also, see something, say something. I often call our safety public safety because we can't depend on 400, almost 400 to 500 officers taking care of 255,000 people. That doesn't make sense. It's up to all of us to ensure that we're safe, and that's saying something when we see something. That's making sure we're watching after each other. Again, it takes the village, which we all know. So just because you don't have any kids doesn't mean you can't jump in and help out with some of our parents who are having a hard time being parents. So it's going to take all of us together to keep our community safe. And our that's such a low bar with the safety for us to thrive. We want Winston-Salem to thrive, not just be safe. Let's thrive. And so that's going to take a lot of effort on a lot of people's part. And again, so many people criticizing everything but come with no solutions. How about coming with some solutions?
I like that. And just to kind of piggyback too off of what you were saying about things starting at home, what initiatives are in place to prevent youth from entering the criminal justice system?
Right. So ultimately, the police department plays a supporting role in that. The number one initiative is mom and dad. That's the number one initiative. However, we understand that we do play a supporting role in that. So the police department itself, we have an explorers program in partnerships with our Winston-Salem Police Foundation. We have a Millennium Scholars where we provide scholarships in partnership with the foundation to various schools. In the summertime, we have a football league as well as a t-ball league where we bring kids in for free, teach them the skills of those games, teach them how to play together. Kids who learn to play together become adults who learn how to live together. Then we partner with Juvenile Crime Prevention Council for various programs there. Also, Juvenile Justice has several initiatives. The Parenting Path, I can go on and on. We partner with lots of our community organizations where we play the supporting role, where we show up and we play our role. We also do lots of referrals. And we also, last but not least, we have a gang steering committee that, although these are initiatives to prevent kids from getting into that criminal justice system, the gang steering committee helps that intervention piece. So when a juvenile gets involved in something, we gotta find a way to provide and give grace to bring them back into the fold so they don't go all the way down that rabbit hole.
And that brings up a good point, too. I don't know too much about law enforcement. I did study a little criminal justice in college, and I watched a lot of criminal shows on TV. So, I feel like that maybe I could solve a case or two if I needed to.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But I was wondering, and I wanted to get your thoughts on the idea of maybe starting, especially with the juveniles. Since I am a spiritual life coach, when I am working with my clients, I always look at the cause. It's not just like the effect. Like, why did you feel angry? Where is this coming from? And sometimes I think just providing a safe space for them to be able to explore those feelings, judgment free kind of thing, could help down the road. And so I was wondering, what did you think about if there was a type of program where for juveniles or even for nonviolent criminals that are getting ready to be released, where how sometimes as part of their probation, they have to have like anger management classes and things of that nature, something along the lines of life coaching skills, because sometimes all it takes is for you to say, did you think about it? Did you take a pause before you did that? Do they even know how to do that? And to instill self-confidence in them to know that just because your friends are running in the street and doing this, that's not something that you have to do to be included in the crowd. So how would that work? Or if I wanted to try to look into starting a program, starting with the juvenile first, because I believe if we plant the seed on that level, then hopefully it will help adults not to go down the pathways that they go down. So how would that work hand in hand with law enforcement, you think?
Yeah. First, I think it's an excellent idea. I'm a firm believer that there's no one way to do things. So very rarely, if you're coming to me asking, would this work? Do I think this is a good idea? Absolutely, because it needs to be various ways to hit the core of this issue, because people are different. I like the idea, but what I would encourage is to start small. A lot of times people with these grand ideas come to the table and really don't understand capacity, understand the funding. And the needs in this city are great, but another thing is we actually have resources, but they're also spread out and they're in silos, so folks don't know. One initiative here may work for one adult or kid and may not for others. So we have to be open-minded to arts, and then kind of point to what you were saying, these foundational initiatives, which is conflict resolutions. We take for granted that someone knows to count to 10 before they blow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be surprised at how few people know, why do we count to 10? Counting to 10 is just breathing. We make better decisions when oxygen is going to our brain. And so we tell kids when they're smaller, hey, count to 10, and don't tell them why. They become adults who don't know why either. If you were to ask me right now what the biggest issue is, and I told you the issues in our community, but what's the root causes? And I would tell you it's the degradation of the family structure, of that family unit. And we know when that family unit is intact, everything that you just talked about, the life coaching, the conflict resolution, all of those things are taking place in the home, and they build that foundation there. And then you build off of it as you grow, and you surround yourself around positive people. We're not having that right now. So we're having broken homes within that. Our children are missing out on some of that. So exactly to your point, getting involved at the most elementary level that you can, because I don't care if you just help one person. One person. I know that doesn't sound like a lot amongst 255,000 folks in Winston-Salem, but that could be the one who's going to commit a homicide, who's going to commit a robbery, or who may end up suffering, being unhoused because they haven't they don't have those skills. So what I would say is start small and build your coalition. Also, I would encourage you to find out who's doing something similar. There's no point in you and someone else battling to save the same folks. Join forces. We have to get to a point where we don't mind working with somebody because we don't care who gets the credit if it's truly about ensuring that we improve our community.
Yes, absolutely. And you brought up a good point when you were talking about the unhoused individuals and just mental health and the foundation. What training do officers receive around de-escalation as far as the mental health crisis and bias? Because I know with a lot of our unhoused people, I was a caseworker that worked with unhoused people. And a lot of them, the reason why they're unhoused, I found, was because of some mental issues that they had going on. So what type of training do the officers receive to assist in those situations?
Right. So from the very beginning in rookie school, the officers learn de-escalation. We talk about our special populations, which will include our folks who suffering with mental illness or even mental distress, because we know your mental health can fluctuate. So we learn that early on in rookie school, and then annually we receive different training. So all throughout the year. So it's not a one and done at the Winston-Salem Police Department. So you'll have it, and when you're in rookie school, you graduate, and then we bring our folks in the same way. They must remain proficient with their weapons. They must remain proficient with their vehicles. They must remain proficient in de-escalation. One of the cooler things we do is that even in our defensive tactics, when we're learning that, we incorporate de-escalation into that. So giving good commands, calming folks down, speaking softer to bring them down. All of that goes into our annual training. So we continuously do that. We also CIT, you know what CIT is, trained so that we understand. We take the 40-hour course and become CIT certified, so that when we're dealing with someone who's suffering with mental distress, we have that training. So the goal is to get 100% of our officers CIT trained. We're not there yet, but many of them on the street are trained. Also, we work hand in hand with the BEAR unit, and the BEAR unit is that team with the fire department who deal with mental illness, unhoused, our folks who are dealing with addiction. That's the behavioral evaluation and response team. We work hand in hand. We are their number one referral, despite what some people think. We would like to give that to them. They are better equipped to handle that than we are. So when people say that we're not referring the customers, our folks that we're dealing with in the community, that's not true. We would actually prefer for them to deal with it, because it serves two purposes. Number one, they're better equipped, that the citizen is getting the best help they need, and we can keep officers dealing with the actual crime, particularly violent crime. That's what we want officers taking the lead in.
Now, with that, and we're talking about the community's mental health, police work can take a heavy toll on mental health, period. So what steps do you encourage your officers to take to protect their own mental health while serving the community?
Right. So I would tell you, when I joined the police department 27 years ago, there wasn't much talk about that. You know, we're definitely suck it up, buttercup, and get back at it. And we've seen the error of our ways over the years. So we have been extremely intentional about wellness, our physical wellness, our mental, emotional. We talk about financial, wherever kind of holistic wellness there is, we talk about it. But we didn't stop at just talking about it. They say you can tell where a person's heart is where they put their money, right?
Yeah.
So we were able to get some funds, and we have now a wellness advocate working right here in the police department, someone who excels at holistic wellness. Because I could tell you, before she got here, best as we can, we were trying to do it on our own, and it's like drinking from a fire extinguisher, a fire hose. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. So we got somebody who specializes in that here. So besides her, and so anytime one of our employees need help, assistance in any of that, she can get them in the right direction, better so than we could ever. But outside of her, we still have the peer support team. Sometimes employees prefer to talk to somebody who actually knows what they're dealing with. So we have that there. We have the traditional EAP, and so we got a lot going on in that field. It's extremely important, but I'm glad we're doing more than talking about it at the Winston-Salem Police Department. I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I think it's very important. So in saying that, with everything that you guys have to deal with, how do you balance the need for toughness in the job with the importance of emotional well-being?
So that is the job, isn't it? It really is more so now than when I started, and it's a delicate balance. So and it starts with me. It starts with me. Here's what my folks know about me. I totally believe in putting somebody in jail, someone who deserves to be in jail, someone who's worked to go to jail, and someone who's being violent and victimizing folks in our community. Point blank, that's my stance. I also believe that we know that we serve the community. And so we act like it by treating everyone with the respect and dignity that they deserve, or even when they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
So that's how we're going to treat people. But we also go deeper than that and recognize that it's not just black and white here, as far as give me the facts. There are some societal issues that increase crime, and we have to be good supporting partners in the community. So when we talk about poverty, when we talk about the housing crisis, when we talk about mental wellness, when we talk about all those things, our officers know that we have to help with that. We can't take the lead in that. And no one should even want the police department taking the lead in those issues, because there's societal issues that we all have to come together on. But we understand that we have to play a role in that. And otherwise, I love to use the example of I Love Lucy, when Lucy and Ethel are working in the candy factory and they're at the end of the conveyor belt. You remember that chocolate keeps coming down, and it's so fast that they're supposed to be putting it in a bag, but it's coming so fast they're putting it in their mouth. If we don't address those causes of crime, that'll be the police department trying to arrest everybody, and that's not the solution. So we have to get in the front of that conveyor belt, and so that's why you see us involved in some of those other societal initiatives where we play a supporting role, because we recognize you have to do both. And you can arrest someone who deserves to be arrested, and you can be professional. And that's the expectation at this agency.
So what role does leadership play in setting the tone for mental support?
It starts with me. And so my folks have to totally, the cool thing about law enforcement is this, they do so much working with people, particularly people who may be in trouble, this, that, they can see right through BS. And I would tell you that's the thing with law enforcement. So if I'm talking about mental wellness, if I'm talking about making sure that we're doing the right things, and they don't see it in me, that they will notice it and they'll poo-poo it. I believe that they understand that I believe in what we're preaching. I don't understand how we can give the community the service they deserve and they're looking for if we're not well. So I've been pretty intentional about talking to our folks about not letting these calls get to them to the point where they're in pain, to speak up, to take some time, to take a deep breath. And I expect my supervisors to be paying attention to our folks after calls, and not just the serious calls. We know that even some of the smaller calls have a way of just building up over time. And we've had retirees come back to the agency and say, you know what? After 30 years of seeing this over and over, it got to me. But you got to understand, our folks see more traumatic events in a couple weeks than the average citizen sees in a lifetime.
Yeah.
So it's nothing for them to go to a homicide scene, to a terrible incident with children, and that's just a work day. And then they're going to come back tomorrow. And so we have to do a good job, a better job than we have in the past of decompressing, talking to people, getting that off our shoulders, because eventually it does weigh on you.
Yeah. So how do you personally stay connected with the community outside of your official duties?
Yeah, so number one, I feel like I'm never outside of my official duties, right? So if anybody thinks I work Monday through Friday 8 to 5, they're wrong. So I do a lot of things in my official capacity. One of the things I'm most proud of is almost all community events we get invited to, and that says something about how our community feels about us, and the fact that we're going to be there says a lot about us, that we're going to show up. And it doesn't have to be something where somebody's getting in trouble. You know, this past weekend I was at an event where we were helping our folks who dealt with addiction. So just being out there, interacting and talking to people is how I spent my Saturday. The second part of that Saturday, I was in a Dunkin' booth at the American Humane Society. So me going to things in the community that's not just a security issue speaks to my connection with the community. Also, I'm still an assistant scoutmaster with the Boy Scouts, and I mentor and all that good stuff. So I'm pretty active in the community, because even my folks will tell you they see me everywhere. They see me places they don't expect to see me. But that's a tribute to the community as well. They want their police department to be a part of it. I'm at rip cuttings for arcades and a new credit union the other day. They ask us to be there because they know we'll show up.
And I think that's important. I think that it's important for us as the community to respect the jobs that you guys do. But I think that it's good that you guys are out in the community, and it makes you feel more approachable, in my opinion. So if you weren't in law enforcement, what career would you have pursued?
So it was funny listening to you earlier talk about you took some criminal justice classes in college. So I took 0 criminal justice classes. So none. So I was actually a business student in college and both undergrad and graduate school. So I knew a little bit about business, but I would tell you, if I wasn't in law enforcement, I'd probably be either airline pilot or a doctor.
Okay. I didn't expect those, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I wonder if that says I have control issues. Both of those things you kind of in control. So I wonder if that means anything.
Well, I'm not gonna try to evaluate you, but it could just a little bit. As we're starting to wrap up, Chief Penn, what's something about you that people would be surprised to learn?
I guess I know the folks who work with me don't think so, but I'm pretty funny. You know, I have a great sense of humor, and they don't like my dad jokes probably, and they think I know they think I'm corny, but I'm pretty funny. I got some friends who told me that they would pay to get me on stage and give me a mic and go 30 minutes. They think I'm that funny. And I agree with them. I'm pretty funny.
That's good. But I think in the job that you have and the stresses that you guys face every day, you've got to have a little humor. You've got to be able to find that balance. in your positions. And I know when I was a case manager in the emergency room and working so closely with law enforcement for different cases and things, that really, really gave me the opportunity to develop relationships and to be able to see you guys in a different light. And I just really appreciate all of the things that you guys do, the way that you handle so many situations that we in the emergency room see and know about every day that other people have no idea. So I'm glad, and I hope that people will continue to work with you guys on initiatives and give you grace.
Yeah, I think they will. And I appreciate your comments and appreciate this opportunity on the podcast to humanize officers. We see so much on a day-to-day basis. We often joke about the fact that we don't get a phone call to say, hey, my child was just awarded a scholarship today. We don't get those calls. 90% of the time when we respond to a call, that's the or one of the worst days of somebody's life. So we have to work hard ourselves and extending that grace, because the day you call the police, you may not be at your best. You might not be your most polite. That might not be who you are on a day-to-day basis. You're calling us because you've lost control of a situation. So the same way we want folks to extend grace to us, because when they're dealing with us, they're not having a good day. We have to do the same and extending that grace as well. I know we come across from time to time as looking stoic, but part of that is we have to maintain composure, because oftentimes we're on the scene of an extremely emotional situation. And what does it look like if we're getting emotionally involved, right? So we need that, but also that on the other side of that, it makes us look robotic at times and not caring. I will tell you, on a day-to-day basis, the police officers in this agency are the most caring people I've ever seen. We recently had a commendation, or quarterly commendations, where we bring folks in and they get recognized for what they do. And I tell you, none of the folks who received a commendation had anything to do with tickets or arrest. It was about seeing a family in need, and those officers, pulling money out of their own pockets to help someone hungry, all of the things that have nothing to do with law enforcement. And that's why when we talk about the police department, our why is to secure the hope and well-being of our community. That says nothing about writing tickets, does it? It says nothing about putting people in jail. That's a part of securing that hope and well-being of our community. But we know what we do is way more impactful than just an arrest or a ticket. So that's why we understand our why. And we're doing so much more than what people even have an idea of what we do. And I just like to highlight that, because Lord knows somebody will see a 10-second video of something involving our officers and they want to start talking about how terrible we are. We do this, we do that, but they have no clue of how often these officers take home some of the terrible things they see in this community. They have no idea how many times officers say, hey, this is how I can help. And they're collecting Pampers so that some of our folks in our community who don't have Pampers, our officers can give them that. They have no clue.
Well, I think that this is a good place to end our conversation. One word that sticks out to me as we wrap up with the final thought is grace. We need to extend you guys grace, and you guys extend us grace.
Absolutely.
And by doing that, I think that it will start meaningful conversations where we can actually get something done and work together instead of against each other.
I agree. We all lose when we're battling one another.
Exactly. Well, that wraps up today's conversation with Chief William Penn of the Winston-Salem Police Department. I hope you enjoyed hearing his perspective on leadership, community, and the future of public safety in our city. Remember, change and safety starts with all of us, and every voice matters. If you would like to stay connected with the Winston-Salem Police Department or learn more about their programs, be sure to check out their website and follow them on social media. Thank you for tuning in to Moments with Myra. Until next time, stay safe, stay inspired, and stay connected.
Man, got a brother out here in Raleigh, man. Shout out to that brother Sky High Fresh. Y'all know what it is. Well, my mama called me Marty and my grandma called me son. I'm just a brother on the mic device, known to get it done. Hold it down like Reverend Run when he raising up his seeds. A brother got a heart full of love and free of greed. Get the work done through the Son, a chosen one. Through him we all begun, through him we all become. Some of all blessings through the words of all lessons. My mind is a weapon that I use with discretion, not for your impression. See, I dealt with my depressions through the scriptures of Yah. When you see me, you are seeing a better version, Jamar. Just a man after righteousness, no fear of no viruses. The blood of Christ on my life is truly what I'm writing with. Killing demons, interceding, Holy Spirit leading to positions that I'm leading when I'm feeding the flock. Just a servant out here working while I'm touching the block. Souls thirsty and they hungry, you gon' feed them or not? Or try to scram for the gram as you lie for the props? I can look in your eyes and see the soul of an eye. That mellow, yeah. I'm an educated son of the only true son. Elohim representing, it's only just begun. Linked up with my brothers, now we brighter than the sun in the solar system. Now my brother's spitting what he is, representing with my kids and my weirds on the earth. Every single second on this turf is home birth. I mean, home turf, homie, is a birth of blessing. Hope you rewind that so you can get the lesson.
See, my uncle called me Shiny and my mama called me son. I'm known for making beats and flipping rhythms on the drums. Mix the hi-hat with the snares, yeah, that's my native tongue. Then I mix that with the spirit of God and I become one of one. Excalibur, slicing up the ways of the evil one. Remember when we used to go to Eastland just to pick up something? Shooting my shot at any culture like I'm FIBA, son. Not realizing the enemy had me feeble, son. In my mindset, mind gone. At that time, any T.I. song was my theme song. Rubber band, man. Yeah, that was my motivation. Top back on 24s, that was the correlation. Until God touched my soul and gave me separation. Yeah, in the word of God, I found my declarations. I started speaking that word, found my levitation. On anything that's negative, found my elevation.
I'm an educated son of the only true son. Elohim representing, it's only just begun. Linked up with my brothers, now we brighter than the sun in the solar system. Now my brother's spitting what he is, representing with my kids and my weirds on the earth. Every single second on this turf is home birth. I mean, home turf, homie, is a birth of blessing. Hope you rewind that so you can get the lesson.